What is the most underrated, most unappreciated, and most diverse thing in Minecraft? Pumpkins. You can make food with it, have a beautiful Christmas, protect yourself, and next to that you don't have to replant it. I even made a house with it. But what will happen if one man decided to dedicate 100 days to farming pumpkins to cultivate and grow them from scratch? Let's find out. Day 1 marks the beginning of our pumpkin farming venture. We spawned in a forest biome, and while looking around I found my first pumpkin. This boy will be a start of generations of pumpkins. It wasn't hard to decide to establish our farm near a freshwater lake for easy access to water, and now we just have to wait. Meanwhile, I gathered wood, stone, and essential tools for our existence. Building a shelter isn't our first priority, but a bed is. I kinda stumbled upon a water cave and I had no other option but to dive in for some coal. Wow, a paradise for kidnapping! Until that part, I will just rob you guys. As well as stabbing this chat for some minerals. Now not only do we have food, but we also don't have to worry about killing sheeps. Back home, and it looks like growing pumpkins takes a while, so till then I had to do some boring labor such as flattening this side of the island. The worst part about it was rain. It didn't bother me because of the sound, but because I just hate it. Making everything brighter made me safer and more confident on my land. The dirt I mined was also used for expanding as much flat land as possible. But until we have enough land to work with, I have a need to make an underground shelter. Since I was still waiting for our first pumpkin child, I was focused on making this place look good. And honestly, I think I can rock it with some simple materials. But even they are hard to come by. To get some coal and iron, I needed a shield, and I was immediately swarmed by menaces of Minecraft caves. Yeah, I'm living. No pumpkins? Back in the caves. Because of my hardcore survival world, I lost all sense for danger, which almost killed me here. Like, since when did zombies start consuming steroids? After that, I got enough materials to survive and dipped out of there. The little shelter was slowly progressing as well as size of our land, everything except the most important thing, pumpkins. I quickly realized that I'm very much wasting time and that it would be much better to just go and mine and forget about pumpkins. And so after equipping myself with guns and shields, I went mining. The only thing I found was a bit of lapis, and that's it. And I was right. I came back, and to my surprise there was our first harvest. I wasn't able to get a hold of myself, so it worked as a celebration. This night there were more important things than sleeping. For an example, I totally forgot that I'm able to speed the pumpkin production with bone meal. So I went on a massacre for skeletons and everything else that interferes with me while chasing skeletons. We are at 16 melons currently, few more and I won't be able to count. Because remember, I'm a Minecraft YouTuber. Every time you'll get successful, someone will try to take it away from you, like this baby zombie wanted to do it to me. Yeah, I'll use a bow. I saw what happened to Filza. While I'm content with the pumpkin progress, I think it can wait. Instead, I should be focusing on the tools and minerals that could automate the process. I don't know, but this reminds me a lot of Cookie Clicker. You first have to click and do it manually, and slowly by progressing, the machines are able to make more than you. Most of you probably think we need diamonds, which we do, but we need much more iron and redstone for dispensers and pistons that just love eating materials. But you know well, I made a diamond pickaxe that day. On day 8 I returned to the surface and decided to make a portal in some random lava pool, just to test my luck. Of course, soon I will have to make a portal in my shelter to make it more accessible to me because of materials such as bone blocks and quartz, which are used to make a redstone block with a face. You know what I mean. You know what I did as soon as I came back. I pumped pumpkins with steroids. I still have no plans to eat the pumpkins I harvest, but if I ate them, I would become Arnold Schwarzenegger. In fact, the farm was so big that I had no pause, and I had to go back and forth to keep the pace. Even next to my poor financial Minecraft decisions like making a diamond shovel, I still worked to make the farm as long as possible lengthwise. Day 10 was one of the most repetitive days of these 100 days, pumping steroids, harvesting, and tilling the fields. I would like to tell you something so that it won't be boring. Did you know that if you plant and eat melons, you are an idiot? Yeah, it's true. Even the most trusted source Wikipedia says it. I've been hiding it from you all this time, but now that I have enough pumpkins, I can turn this basement into a pumpkin cellar. I covered the floor, ceiling, walls, and now I feel fulfilled like a monk. I spent almost the whole day on this, while the rest of the day I made a fence for the lighting. And now is the right time to build a house. It won't be big, but remember that pumpkins are our goal, not a house. so I covered the ceiling of my shelter instead. Yes, you guessed it, I'm harvesting pumpkins. I pretty much used up all the bone meal I had, so I went and literally stole the last portal in hopes that when I put it in my base I'd have more bone blocks to steal. I swear there is no fortress in this nether, just boring skeletons. Day 14 was semi-productive. The reason I said it is because instead of digging pumpkins I made and beautified my path. I should really consider my priorities, and guess what? Which surprisingly left me time for a little leveling of the land. Last night I forgot to place torches on my land, so skeletons and creepers spawned. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but skeletons are the worst mob in Minecraft. They are boring, but they're actually very strong. At the moment, the biggest thing I've been working on is land. I decided to expand the land as well. Of course, I didn't want to make the same mistake as a while ago, so I put up a fence to protect myself from the mobs. In all honesty, I found myself engaged in rather trivial tasks today, like maliciously removing dangling leaves from neighboring trees. In hindsight, I realized I should have focused on something more productive, such as cutting down additional trees. It's baffling how these days seem to vanish in the blink of an eye. I'm still trying to comprehend what the fuck happened. But now I'm officially done. Now all this land can be one big pumpkin field. The production will be so good that 5 people would not be able to compete with the speed of this farm. Of course, I threw myself into work as soon as possible and started plowing the fields, lights and fences. Day 18 and back in the game. I plan to keep the leftover pumpkins in the shelter and use it as a basement. Until then I would like to fix it so that it looks at least somehow okay. And as for planting pumpkins in this huge field, I thought it would be easy, but believe me, it won't be. I need about 10 stacks of pumpkins to have enough seeds for the whole area. I signed up for this, but I like planting pumpkins, so yeah. As the sun begins its descent on day 19, I found myself in awe of the incredible velocity with which I've surged ahead, achieving an impressive 80% completion. This took much shorter than I expected it to. Guess I'm just way too good of a pumpkin planter. Okay, I'm taking my words back. I'm actually a good pumpkin planter, but bad at math, because I will need about 20 stacks of pumpkins for this. So guess what I did on day 20? A. Harvest pumpkins. B. Harvest pumpkins. Or D. Practice my aim with a zombie inside my house. Yeah, well, I can't really say this was hard, it just took a ton of my time. I made sure to also make an entrance so I can farm pumpkins through the night without having a heart attack. It is also made with pumpkins, what were you thinking? I still want to make my farm longer in the future, but until then I will have to deal with zombies, creepers and everything that decides to approach and come near my farm. Here's a little time lapse of pumpkins while I'm taking a dump. I got an idea while waiting for newborn pumpkins to grow. Let's just go and explore what is on the other side of this forest. Well, a portal isn't bad, but it just was. Bro was emptier than all my notebooks for school. For real, most of them haven't been even opened. I got a little off topic, but mostly a little further from the portal I found a pillager outpost. I am so poor that they literally ran away from me. At least that's what I thought. So I started killing the iron golem and then the pillager literally pushed me to my death. Hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Well, the end of life has come for you and the iron golem. I need to recover from the poorness. And the fastest way is to go and mine some diamonds, baby. Honestly, iron is far more important, but it's like I found diamonds, redstone, lapis and more diamonds. And 0 iron. Yes, 0. It looks like I will have to employ my little brother by giving him some candy, hehehe. Day 25 was incredibly momentous, but after only 20 minutes of watching the footage, I found myself diagnosed with an unexpected condition known as bore-out syndrome. Believe it or not, it's a real phenomenon. Don't just take my word for it, go ahead and look it up. Pretty much the same thing at a different place, and I almost forgot. On day 26 my luck was so awful I thought Notch was pranking me. Fast forward, he didn't, but he had to give a diagonal mining a try. I was desperate but left the mine disappointed and betrayed. Luck was definitely on my side this time as I stumbled upon everything I needed to make an enchanting table. I was thrilled to deck myself out in shiny diamonds which I enchanted. Fueled by this stroke of luck, I decided to make an automatic pumpkin farm which would help me invest more time in other tasks and challenges. I spent time flattening the area and collecting plenty of food for the project. I had to start making it as quickly as possible, so I mob-proofed it before going to sleep. By the end of the 27th day, I had made significant progress in preparing the space needed for the farm. On day 28, things took an interesting turn. It was already 2 AM and my brain couldn't handle building the farm. I was just bugging, and next to that I needed a stack of iron, which I actually now see I don't have. Feeling hungry, I decided to prioritize food and went searching for sustenance. To my luck, I stumbled upon a nearby village. I couldn't resist the temptation to gather its resources, shamelessly taking everything in sight, including a brewing stand. But that wasn't the end of my adventure. I came across a pyramid and excitement quickly turned to shitting my pants as I noticed it was filled with creepers. Carefully navigating past them, I hoped for valuable loot, which was shit. Or my expectations are just warped. It was a valuable lesson learned. Not every risk is worth it. Though I continued my adventure, I wasn't so lucky this time, so I just ran around until I found a portal that was also useful as a loom. That block has actually existed for almost 8 years. No one knows what that block actually does, but it's there. Now the only thing I could do was to dig. I don't have that much experience in newer versions, but it seems to me that iron appears more on the surface than in the depths where the diamonds are. I was mostly digging and trying to prevent some creeper from sneaking up and killing me because we are in hardcore. I don't think I even said that at all, but okay, at least now you know. As soon as I got back, I put the iron to melt and I noticed how much food I actually have. I will most likely never have to worry about it again, so that's nice. Day 31 and iron is still smelting. Probably because I slept. Until that is finished, I could explore the ocean, which is not so far away. And here is the ship. This treasure is literally next to us. Who would have thought miracles would happen? This time there were actually a couple of useful items in the chest, but another miracle happened. I was attacked by a trident zombie. The armor I wear is too strong, so it couldn't even scratch me, and without any sword I got his enchanted trident. I thought I was lucky again and started exploring the jungle, but I didn't find anything. I finally crafted my first pistons, and slowly we're getting to the automatic farm. I hope we can finish it until the day 99, or else you won't see this video on YouTube, but it looks like you're watching it, so subscribe. I expected everything, but not this. I didn't have enough cobblestone. In addition, the dispenser required me to go to the nether, which is quite risky, not gonna lie. The white ghost tried to bombard me, but I took out a single Uno reverse card and got a return to Slender achievement. We can finally start working on the farm, after I take a nap. I dug a 9x10 hole and slowly followed the tutorial. I saw this farm from Shulkercraft, and because I'm not a redstone genius like him, I followed the tutorial from beginning to end. Basically what I understand is that this is a storage system and that these are the watermelons that break when they grow. I also needed glowstone. I'm not sure if it was necessary, but the last thing I want was to fuck up on a stupid mistake. At the end of the tutorial there was an instruction to decorate the farm as desired, and of course I decorated something. I spent day 34 sitting in a cube on the roof of my house to test if this farm actually works, and it does. In an attempt to combat pumpkin overcrowding in my Minecraft storage, I embarked on a questionable mission to build a pumpkin pyramid. With pumpkins aplenty and the knack for questionable architectural decisions, I stacked them up, hoping to impress the pixelated passers-by with my towering masterpiece. I can't help myself but imagine a pumpkin pharaoh ruling over my pyramid, wearing a tiny pumpkin crown. Whether it becomes a Minecraft wonder or a goofy landmark, one thing's for sure, I'll have the world's most impressive pyramid. As a professional YouTuber, I forgot to turn on the recording where I made the roads to the pumpkin farm and my questionable pyramid. Though I no longer had the need to dig pumpkins because the farm produces more and is more profitable than manual digging, which requires a large amount of iron. A few days ago I already made several axes and it would be a shame not to use them. I still haven't used pumpkins for many practical things, but now I could make my own guardians. And no, I don't mean iron golems, they are too expensive for me, but snowmen are not. They will definitely provoke anything that comes near them, but even that distraction is good enough. And here is the security guard who is useless. I would give him a name tag, but that is not very good return on investment. He seemed a bit lonely to me, so I had to make him a father, mother and a sister. They're on the loose, although I know they won't stay alive for more than 5 days. I spent most of the day 38 lighting the space and preparing the pumpkin tower project. By the end of the day, I managed to take measurements and set the lines of the walls. Day 39 was dedicated to the pumpkin tower. One day there will be a civilization here that will have workers, farmers and librarians. Until then, I'll just keep building with pumpkins. I'm so dedicated to this mission that I stayed up all night for pumpkins. As always, I have to be honest, the pyramid was biggest waste of pumpkins ever. Also, my estimate that 10 stacks will be enough for the whole tower is crazy. At least I finished the floor and slowly started working on the walls. I decided that it will be 4 blocks high, which is enough to stop literally anything. In addition, I also built walls over it like a real castle. This would stop spiders if they try to climb, although the main purpose of this is high ground against enemies when raid is happening. It's day 41 and I don't have a single pumpkin left, which means we'll have to go back to manual work. Although auto farm is fast, it's not as fast as I need it to be, and we will solve that soon. I didn't like the shape of the castle at all. I literally couldn't let it look like a cube. For some reason, I didn't look at Google, but I tried to make archer loops myself. This looks terrible, better stick to Google. And now they already look normal. I will not release villagers here because they will jump out of the base and cause a big problem. And the problem is what we don't want. These archer loops are finished, but we need a way to be able to actually enter them. And for that I figured a ladder would be the best. I also added these holes and lit the whole castle. I also made an entrance that I will connect to the base a little later. Of course, I had to build a high tower from which I could see my progress. Nothing much is needed for it. A few pumpkins and trees, and that's pretty much it. This is the main part of the castle and I am very proud of it. While that tall tower looks cool, the amount of pumpkins I used was terrible. For this reason I wanted to explore the nether a little more, and voila, I found the bastion. I won't lie to you, but I was scared because I knew there was a chance that I would lose my world. For this reason I played as safe as possible. I really didn't want to die and lose this much progress. You can't blame me. At the top of the bastion, a pretty good pickaxe was waiting for me in the chest. I tried to slowly explore the other parts of the bastion for loot, but I got scared and ran home. Day 46 and I'm working on this project again. The castle is surrounded by sand that I have to clean up. Oops, I lost my shovel. In addition to that digging, we also have other obligations, such as getting as many beds as possible. How can I tell you? Villagers are very simple. They need doors, beds, and food. I don't have any farm yet, so I stole every bed from every village for my big village. Now that we have everything we need, the only thing left is to kidnap the villagers. This was mostly easy due to real life experience. Come here, I have candy for you. Now you can go make babies. I'm just kidding. It's time to make you a home so you can have some privacy. Even though you're mostly shameless and very comfortable doing stuff in front of everyone, by the end of the day I managed to build 2 houses. But of course the game always wants to make every task I do more difficult. It seems that the villagers got a tip about the new village and immediately wanted to demolish it, but I won't allow it. I slapped the shit out of them. Then they came for a second round and started the raid. I didn't know how to feel about this because I don't even have a sword, but I have a great idea. You will never be smarter than me. Burn. And I'd also like for us not to talk about how close I actually came to that here. Day 51 and I finally finished the raid and got the achievement next to the effect. The biggest thing I've got now is the Totem of Undying, which will save me if something scary happens. I urgently need to get a bow and arrow so I don't have to burn them in the lava. And now I'm going to hibernate in order to be ready for laboring tomorrow. All the villagers in the village were still unemployed, so I built a farm for them so they would at least have something to do. I made a shuttle and built as many houses as possible. The main goal is to have as many employees as possible, and for now I am on the right track. As for work in the countryside, there will always be something to do. I was not satisfied with the way the houses looked, because they were very bland and I wanted to make a contrast. And I managed to do that by having the roof made of oak wood planks. I also managed to build roads before the end of the day. I spent a lot of time on these archer loops, so I had to come up with a design where villagers won't be able to climb them. Although they are very stupid, they know how to irritate you, just like people in real life. Now that they are safe, they can wait. I've had enough of running through pumpkins and forests to get to the castle, so it's time to make roads. Everything is pumpkin themed, so everything is beautiful. Maybe digging half of the hill was hard, but it was definitely worth it. Yesterday I managed to finish about 50% of the work. Most of the day 56 was spent digging sand. Although it is a bit boring to dig this much sand now, I'm sure that this sand will be useful sometime in the future. I promised myself that I wouldn't sleep until this was almost over, and I managed to finish it by midnight. Most of the day 57 was spent on small things as flattening the terrain and removing everything annoying. The road looks great, but it is not safe. very similar to women. I remembered that there are pumpkin lanterns, and with the help of fences I made not only protection but also an interesting detail. The sand I dug the other day was useful for the windows in the village. Now every house was beautiful and had natural light. I didn't visit the villagers for a while, expecting them to plant all the seeds themselves, but that wasn't the case. It looks like they need me. And now, because I have an excess of pumpkins, I'm starting to work on another project. For that project I will need to straighten this entire river, and I will do it with pumpkins. Now that this is all filled in, I will also remove part of this forest because it looks absolutely disgusting. Here I plan to make another automatic pumpkin farm that will extend from the lowest possible depth to the maximum height. This is a long-term project that I hope to complete within 200 days. Until then I can save the space and protect it with fences. All the things I did last few days cost me a lot of materials. It's like inflation even hit Minecraft. It's absolutely unbelievable. And because of it I stayed the whole day underground mining. Woohoo! Still in the mines! But now I'm searching for redstone. I have always believed that mining straight will give me the most redstone, but was disappointed when I had only 40 after a whole day. In the depths of the Minecraft mines we tirelessly mine for resources, fueled by the goal of farming more and more pumpkins. Amidst the darkness and danger, we should probably establish a secure base camp, but I don't have time for that honestly. Alright, it's time to go home. We have iron, redstone and cobblestone, but one thing we don't have is quartz. Mining quartz isn't bad after all. It's easy to mine and also we get a ton of XP for it. One wise man once said, "We make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give." And I wanted to give pumpkins to my employee villagers. On day 65 I did the same thing, and I did it for my villagers, which makes me feel fulfilled and actually useful. And my terrible judgment of having cobblestone made me make a cobblestone generator. The last time I played Skyblock I expected it to be the last time I made it, but fate decided otherwise. And what you are seeing here is me complicating the fuck out of this farm. At the end of the day I got it to work somehow. We call this in business anti-essentialism, or what the fuck are you doing? This is the part where I mind. The place definitely doesn't look stunning, but it will soon, I promise. Yup, back at it again. There is something satisfying about mining cobblestone. Is it the sound, animation, or I'm just crazy? Day 69, my favorite day so far. The construction of the project started and I was very scared about collecting system. I needed it to be as efficient as possible and easy to build because I was in midst of the lake. I managed to do it somehow. This farm is originally supposed to be 3 times shorter, but I am no normie, remember that. Every time you see this escape menu, know that I am watching tutorials or scrolling YouTube shorts. This time it was a tutorial for this type of pumpkin farm. I was going back and forth until I learned how to make the farm myself. Sad news, all the materials I worked for were enough for only 1 layer, which shortly means we're fucked. Something is better than nothing. I'm saying this to comfort myself. The time I will have to invest in this farm is insane. No kidding, this is literally torture. This footage was filmed at 5 AM and I haven't slept for 2 days. Phantoms are going to spawn in real life if I don't sleep soon. Digging is over now, but it is necessary to make and finish this automatic pumpkin farm as soon as possible. Of course it is impossible to finish it within 100 days, so at least 5 layers would be reasonable. The chests were full of pumpkins. Every time I opened the chest I would have a chance to look into heaven. I was slowly progressing when a trader came to visit me. I thought a lead would be cool, so I chopped the llamas up. On day 74 I no longer had the need to watch the tutorial, so the lack of minerals was a bigger problem. For this reason I did not make buckets because one of those would cost me 3 pistons. That was very annoying, but I kept building it taller and taller. I definitely did more than 5 layers. The interesting thing is that I still had to dig cobblestone from time to time. Maybe in 200 days I will make an automatic farm for iron and cobblestone, which will automate most of the work. I ran out of the material again, but I'm content with the amount of layers I've built so far. Of course, I'm not mediocre. I want everything to be more painful. In 2023 that's considered being a Sigma, and I am Sigma. In addition to digging, I wanted to make another way to delete this project because the space was too empty. I went a little further from my house because I thought that most of the iron nearby had been mined. Digging does not require much brain power, so I mostly watch Netflix or YouTube. And this happened during digging. Yes, I almost fell into infinity. From now on, I will not let go of the totem. Thanks to those pillagers for the raid, they quite literally saved my life. Not only in-game, but in real life. Until I stop being afraid, the automatic pumpkin farm project can wait, and until then I can work in my village. When I left the villagers with houses, beds and food, I didn't know that 4 new families would appear. This means that I can start building working houses. First I made a smithing place. It was quite open, but I definitely had to use the space as efficiently as possible because there wasn't much of it. On day 79 I built a house where I will have various employees. First ones that got the job were cartographers, though they are kinda hard to level up, they will be very helpful. Most of the house was in glass because I wanted it to be modern and so that I would be able to spot my workers quickly if they're lacking. The next working building will be for Fletchers. They sell sticks and wood is the most available to us at the moment. I tried to make each place different in order to make it easier to recognize the workers. For this house I used wood and glass, and unlike the last one I also made a roof. I don't know if you remember the sand I had to dig for the castle, as I said it will be useful sometime in the future, and I was right. I baked all the sand I had for glass, and I put that glass on the pumpkin farm so that the pumpkins wouldn't go outside of the farm. In the meantime, when the sand was burning, I would cut wood and steal money from my workers. You can say that I'm bad, but that's what every boss does. The only thing left in the village now are small details and space for librarians. Everything is grand, but at least it works. I spent most of the time leveling up the Fletcher to become a master because he was easy to level up. Eliminating every tree from our site is not the smartest idea, nor is it the fastest. Instead, I will go ahead and find spruce wood. It was about 1000 blocks away, but I stayed the whole day getting as many saplings as I could. The biggest reason for spruce saplings is because farming it is the fastest. There is a way to connect about 32 saplings next to each other, but at the time I will stick to my normal planting. In addition, I bought an enchanted bow from the Fletcher, which I paid for with my pumpkins. A town's employee rate was very low. Kids were just appearing from nowhere, so when I put 2 grindstones, volunteers came and got their job right there. Town had a capacity to fit many more people, and for that I will need more beds. Sheeps, come here, I just want to take you apart. After getting the beds and setting them up, I spent the rest of the time leveling librarians. The reason why I exactly leveled up them is because in return I would get bookshelves, which I set up on the way to the base. Though I don't have enough of them, so let me go and mine some more wood and get some more of them. On day 87 I spent part of the day watching the villagers while they were inappropriate. It just weirds me out that they are shameless, and also that I'm watching them. New news, new event, I bought a new stronger crossbow. I had to test it on a rabbit. He is very strong, and for anyone who has empathy for this rabbit, he is useless. They say money doesn't make you happy, but they lied. I loved every part of it. With money I bought more bookshelves and finished the place. Now I can just hope an enderman doesn't steal my blocks. I've upgraded everyone, the only villagers that were still poor were the ones that were too expensive. This farmer for example wanted me to farm beetroot. Honestly, I didn't even know they were a thing. The expensive part about beetroot is the fact that you need too much bone meal for it. So after 10 minutes of farming I was only 20% there. Fuck you. Honestly, I don't need you. But the librarians gave some very tempting deals for lanterns and I couldn't resist. It was worth every emerald because now I can kill squids for emeralds. Day 91 and there are only 10 days left until the end of the challenge and I am working in the countryside instead of pumpkins. A real shame. The real reason is that I didn't want to go back in the mine, especially after that incident with the totem. That event turned on my 9 cents. After I came back I started baking all the iron I mined, and while furnaces were doing their thing, I used the rest of the glass and placed it as high as I possibly could. And then I thought I'm finally ready to build, but when I opened the chest I saw 0 redstone. I came to dig. Oh, here is redstone, let me dig. Yeah, while mining I saw my brain smoking because I was mad. Then I totally said fuck it and went to kill squids for more money. Once again, a good example of my financial decisions. On day 95 I also maxed both of my Fletchers and tried very hard to level up a weaponsmith, but he was expensive as fuck. Believe it or not, day 96 was spent on some productive stuff. And it is mining. There is not much I can do to get redstone and I have 5 days left and I may as well use most of it. I'm finally working on the a farm. I'm not sure how much I'll manage to do by the end of these 100 days, but I'll do my best to make it a lot. As the farm was getting taller, it was harder and harder to get water up there, but going up and down is definitely easier than mining for an hour, so I won't complain. On day 98, in addition to the technical part of building the farm such as placing redstone and pistons, I worked on the aesthetic appearance of the farm. I needed to cover the entire farm with pumpkins, and the problem appeared when I sold all the pumpkins to the villagers. This forced me to continue manual digging if I wanted to finish it by the end of these 100 days. If I didn't have an axe like this would be quite difficult. Although I had very little time, I devoted every second to building the walls, and after so much time, the farm was actually finished. It required a lot of time and effort, but it all paid off in the end. I had some time in the day to work on a slightly better storage system. I doubt that 2 double chests will be enough, but of course I will always expand the space when necessary. Day 100, the end of these 100 days, is slowly approaching, and the best way to see the progress is to make a map in the castle. Fortunately, a librarian sold maps quite cheaply, and I slowly started labeling the entire folder. Along the way, I also killed cows because I will need an item frame for the picture. The map right now has 6 parts, and in 200 days we must make sure to at least double it. Anyways, I made a wall and arranged all the maps, made a decoration and was finished. And that, my friend, brings us to the end of an incredible journey. 100 days ago we embarked on a mission to farm pumpkins like never before, and today we stand here triumphant with bountiful harvests and a wealth of knowledge about pumpkins. This is how it looks. That's really it. Bye.